Hello friends, my name's James, and this is my 1965 Alberg 30 sloop SV Tritea. We're on a mission to sail around the world and see as much of this beautiful planet as possible. On this season, we're working our way through New Zealand. I want to share with you all the magic that is Aotearoa. Good morning from Meretoto, also known as Ship Cove. Captain Cook spent a great deal of time in this cove, and we're gonna head ashore and check out his monument and the sandy beach and try to imagine the past and the Endeavour hauled up on the side getting the bottom work done. It's a beautiful day out, kind of like diffused lighting. Been waiting for two of the tour boats just left. There's still people on shore, but we're gonna go ashore and see what it's all about. By the time Captain James Cook sailed into this bay, the Endeavour had already spent 2 months exploring the North Island of New Zealand, sailed down the west coast, before coming upon what we now call Queen Charlotte Sound. Cook decided that Meretoto, which he referred to as Ship Cove, would be a good place to water, provision, and refit the Endeavour. Cook returned to this cove on all 3 of his voyages, spending a total of 178 days at the site, spread out over 5 separate visits. Captain Cook and his men enjoyed friendly relations and trade with the Maori tribes in Aotearoa, thanks to Tupaia, the Tahitian high priest that had been traveling with Captain Cook on board the Endeavour since the Society Islands. In turn, the Maori people were able to reconnect with their Polynesian roots thanks to meeting Tupaia, who had sailed from their ancestral homeland of Hawaii, now known as Raiatea. I enjoyed walking around the overgrown bush, trying to imagine the seasonal Maori pause, as well as the shoreside camps set up by the crews of the Endeavour and the Resolution. With a large freshwater spring flowing out of the cove, it's not hard to see why Captain Cook chose Meretoto as his favorite site for repair and replenishment. Just around the corner from Ship Cove, Captain Cook and Joseph Banks discovered that the Maori practiced cannibalism on their defeated foes. While many of the crew were horrified at this finding, including Tupaia, of them, Cook seemed the least disturbed. Based on his journal entries, it seemed he saw it simply as a local custom. On December 17th, 1773, 250 years and 4 days before my visit, 10 members of the crew of the HMS Adventure visited nearby Grass Cove. Once ashore, they found themselves at the age-old intersection of fuck around and find out, as one of the Marines was disrespectful to a Maori chief, resulting in the deaths of 2 Maori and 10 of the crew of the Adventure, the latter of which were cooked and eaten. It's always good to remember to be respectful of locals whose land you are visiting, else you might end up becoming a drumstick. I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it many, many more times. One of my favorite things about cruising the world under sail is the time travel aspect. To be here in Ship Cove, Meretoto, where Cook spent so much time, it's like, it hits me. Right in the heart, it hits me. I love it. It's so cool. Like, I just squint and imagine the Endeavour anchored out there or pulled up on the shore, Resolution in the bay. I love it so much, so cool. Sticking with the Captain Cook theme, we're gonna fire up the engine, slip the mooring line, and head for Endeavour Inlet. We have access to, I think there's 3 or 4 moorings in Endeavour Inlet that we can grab. We'll see which one is empty, and go spend the night over there and see what that's all about. Very slight headwind, so no sailing gonna happen, just gonna be motoring. And we'll be trying out the new replacement tiller. First run of that. I have the hydrovane rudder installed and ready to go if we need to use that again. But this was the original tiller for Tritea, so everything should be chill. So let's get underway. Boy, one of the most amazing things about being on moorings, you don't have to haul up the anchor. Speaking of the anchor, I want to show you guys what I do. Figured this out on D'Urville Island. I can flip my Mantis upside down so that the mooring line doesn't get caught under the tip of it. Also doesn't chafe the mooring line. Fits perfect in the bow roller upside down. And then if I want to deploy it quickly, all I do is unhook it like I normally would, give it a little nudge, and it flips over and drops right in. Check it out. So it just sits upside down. So that is a really good option for not getting your bow line chafed. All right, time for me to slip this mooring. Pulling into Endeavour Inlet, checking out the book of all the mooring spots. They send you that when you join Polaris Boating Club, and it has coordinates, descriptions, the number on the mooring ball, and all that stuff. There's supposedly two moorings in the cove I want to go to. So we're gonna drive around this corner and see if there's any boats in there. There's like maybe 6 mooring balls in Endeavour Inlet, so we can find one, and if they're all taken, the rules of the club go, you have to let someone raft up. If you're on it and another club boat shows up, you have to let them raft up. So if they're all taken, we'll probably just raft up to someone. But we shall see. Come around the corner and find out. I was just standing here and thinking about Marlborough Sounds. Like what a special place it is. Because like right now I'm surrounded by mountains that are like inlets and islands, and I can't see the open sea in any direction. So we're in like protected waters from like ocean swell and all that stuff. But there's just mountainous, forest covered hills in all directions. It's pretty amazing. Like I had a moment where I just sat in the cockpit and looked around, like rather than focusing on the goal of like going one place to another. Really, really special place. Awesome. Looks like at least one of the mooring balls is free, so that's good. Looks like a nice little cove. It's cool. And there you have it. Moored up at Tawa Bay. We have it all to ourselves. Two E's are singing us a song. And it's very, very beautiful here. And it's funny, like, see how close we are to the shore? We're in 90 feet of water. That's why there's moorings here instead of anchoring everywhere. What a place. It's amazing how many like bays and inlets exist in Queen Charlotte Sound and all of Marlborough Sounds, but it's like everywhere you look there's like a nook or a cranny or a deep inlet with a ton of coves, all ready for exploring. Beautiful nights on the hook or on the mooring ball. Really cool. Sun's coming out for a second, but I believe it's gonna go back away. Good morning from Cockle Cove. What incredible bird song. Captain Cook wrote in his diary about the Marlborough Sounds, specifically about Ship Cove, that the bird song in the morning was deafening. It was like 1769. Really amazing. Very quiet, peaceful night on the hook in this very well protected Cockle Cove, which is up inside Bay of Many Coves, which is in Queen Charlotte Sound, which is part of Marlborough Sounds. A lot of names attached to this spot. Today we will slip the line and sail for Waikawa, be clearing into a marina today. There's a chandlery there. I'd like to see if I can find a new tiller. So that's the mission. There's also like forecasted like 20 knots tomorrow. So I don't mind being in a marina in a couple days and 20 knots of wind when I can't get off the boat anyway. And try to get this tiller situation sorted out. And then it's back into the Sounds for another few weeks of cruising. And more mornings like this. If you enjoy the content on this channel and would like to contribute, you can consider joining the Patreon crew. Thanks for watching. Fair winds until next time.